It's so nice to see a crowd of beautiful women, I have to say. I'm usually in meetings with men, so to be in a company of women is just phenomenal. Following Miss Rebecca Cruz and then that fabulous introduction by my Pastor Grace is kind of intimidating. So I'm going to take a moment and just talk about how I came to be here at this particular moment, and it really is a dream of mine. About a year ago, as Pastor Grace said, we met, but for about 4 years, I had been praying that I would have wonderful friendships. And the funny thing about your dreams and your prayers is that God will answer them, but you have to be ready to actually follow them. And he kept introducing me to all these fabulous women, and I kept saying, oh, they're too fabulous for me, so I'm going to keep going. And one day, Pastor Grace basically knocked me upside the head and said, but you're fabulous too, and so am I, so we will be friends. And then she introduced me to so many fabulous women, and now we are fabulous friends. And a part of that process was sharing my other dream, which was to help women, especially young women, but women of color, to achieve their dreams. And here we are today. And so again, I say God answers prayers. One of the things that I know about business and about generational wealth is that in my life as a business owner, especially as an entrepreneur, and doing it with my family, is that for me it intermingles. It never is one or the other. In my life, I could be at a meeting and my parents may or may not be there, but I'm always representing them. I'll go home to a dinner with my parents and my family, and we'll talk about life, about expectations, about dreams, about hopes, about grandchildren. And eventually, our conversations do come into a life of business. So when I look at all the things that have made us successful as a family, there is a past, there's a present, and then there's our future, but it all seems to have fallen the same path. And the first thing that I have learned in my family, we are raised by very strong women, many of whom are here today. And they're always supportive of what it is that we do and who we are. But there's an acceptance of who you are. And I don't know if you have noticed, but I'm rather tall, right? And so being tall, I have found that can be intimidating, especially to men. And I get confronted quite a bit about being tall. I didn't ask to be tall. I was made this way. This is a gift from God, right? So no, I don't buy clothes off the rack, but I can figure it out. I'm tall. But when you're growing up, tall is not normal, right? Tall is not normal. Tall is tall. I had to learn how to be my own normal. And I carry that with me no matter where I go. Because I can't change this, right? I can't change it. All I could do is change how I view this. And it's not just about being tall, it's about how I view my life. So the first thing I would like to talk about is choices. And the choices that you make every day, whether it's in your personal life or it's in your professional life, will affect you every single moment of your life. And if you've made bad choices in the past, okay, great, so have I. I can make good choices in this moment. And it's this moment that matters to me for my future. And you can always continue to make good choices. When I look at a framework of business and multi-generational wealth, I have to ask myself, what does wealth really mean to me? Is it the money or the possessions? Does that make you happy? Well, as a family, we've been high and we've been low. But I can't necessarily say that we were any happier when we had a lot of money or happier when we didn't have much at all. What I can tell you is that we're always happiest when we're together. I have two brothers, one who's older and one who's younger. And I have my mom and dad, and as a nucleus, we have a very close-knit family. And we talk about a lot of things within our family. And that has been probably the biggest blessing, because my parents like to tell me about myself all the time, as they should, and so do my brothers. And in the process of doing that, it keeps me balanced, and it keeps me humble. And without that, maybe I wouldn't be as Pastor Grace had said. But with God as our focus as a family, there is nothing that we can't accomplish. My great-grandmother was born in 1904. And she was born in the South, and she took her whole family and migrated to the North. When she did that, she didn't have many resources. She had a vision, and she had a dream, and she had an understanding that her destination was to provide a life for her family that was better than the one that she had where she was. And being my great-grandmother, Mama Annie, she not only did it once, she did it twice. She migrated again from the North to California, and that's how my father's branch of the family came to be here. That took courage and strength. It took a vision to move forward and a dream to be fulfilled so that she can help start her family on a path that was greater than the one that she saw, a future that was better than the one that she saw had she stayed. And to do that, she had to take an action. It's not just enough to have a dream or a vision. You have to act on that. No matter what you're doing or where you're going, if you don't make actions, it's never going to happen. So I'm trying to lose 10 pounds, but I sure enough am not getting on that treadmill, so I'm not going to lose those 10 pounds. People say, why do you need to lose 10 pounds? Because what looks good in your clothes does not look nearly as good out of your clothes, okay? Trying to tighten it up. But that's never going to happen until I get on my treadmill at the end of the day, so I'm just going to wear more pants and be tall, okay? Language in our family is also something that's been very, very important. My parents have never communicated to us in a way that was negative or derogatory. I remember even when I was troubled, my mother used to say, I love you, baby. Now go on timeout and sit on the stairs and make better choices. It's your choices that have gotten you in trouble. You are not a bad person. That action was not correct. When you listen to the language that surrounds you, it can propel you into a direction that is either positive or negative. But if you don't have the opportunity to be surrounded by positive language, you can still choose to have positive actions. And it's your actions, again, that take you into the future in the direction that you want to go. So in business, we always have a vision. So what is your vision for your life? What is it that you want to accomplish? We are all here today because one beautiful and fabulous lady had a vision for our future. She wanted to make an impact into our lives. And I don't know about you, but my world has been changed because of this woman. Being here has changed my life because of this woman. And if this moment has an opportunity just to change one life, then that one life has a whole world of opportunity that has been changed. And in that, you have to have a plan. So what is your plan? We always have a business plan. Our business plan has a strategic plan, and it has a vision, and it has goals, and those goals require actions, right? But you also have to have belief that you could do it. When I was 26 years old, I had the opportunity to take over my parents' company. And it came as a big surprise. Our DO at the time had been stealing from the company quite a bit of money. And I had recognized that it was happening, but did not really understand what was going on. So after about 3 months, my office manager and I at the time had started accumulating all this documentation of how the theft was happening, right? And so I presented it to my parents and said, this is a problem, we need to fix it. And then my dad turned immediately around and said, and now you are the solution. Oh, no, I'm just presenting you with the problem. Now you need to go be the solution. But apparently, it was his plan all along that I was going to be the solution. So at 26 years old, I took over my parents' company. We had 8 McDonald's restaurants at the time. And over the course of the next 7 years, we grew from 8 to 15, and we more than doubled our sales inside of those restaurants. Thank you. But the funny thing is, I was the youngest manager. At 26, I was now the boss of people who were well in their 40s. I had exactly 3 years of official McDonald's experience, right? I was working as a teenager on my summer breaks and stuff, but I never had any plans to do McDonald's. That was my parents' thing. I had my own plan, right? And sometimes God, he really just says, your plan is a great plan, but that's not my plan. So we're going to go with my plan. So at this moment, I'm 26, and now I'm responsible not just for all of the people who work for us, but my parents' entire financial well-being. And I wake up every single day with an understanding that 1,300 people who work for us in the 17 locations across 2 counties and 9 cities, and my parents' financial well-being and that of generations that move forward within the Webb family are dependent upon the choices that I make. It's so funny about social media because I'm like totally not on it. I don't really want to be on it, and I know that I miss out on so much by not being on it. But there's just so many things that I don't want people who work for me to know. Right? Okay. But the thing about social media is that it does help keep us connected, right? And it also has eliminated the gap between what is private and what is personal. And so many of us choose to put so much that is personal that should be remaining private out in the world for everyone to talk about. So needless to say, I don't do that. But what I do is understand that if you are going to make those types of choices, then do it in a way that does not embarrass you in business or in your private life. Those are the types of things that matter in business and matter as you move forward in your own life, in my opinion. It's so funny because I look at my 3 kids. My children are 5, 7, and 8. I had to think about that because my daughter just turned 7 a few weeks ago. And I look at the generations that have come before, from my great-grandmother to my grandmother, to my mother, now to myself and my children. And I know that the things that I am teaching these young people, as they move on and go out into the world, have the ability to affect generations to come. And when I look in my business, I understand that I am here to provide a job, a first job, an opportunity for training, and access and opportunity to move into the future for whatever career choice they choose of it. And we build foundations for people. And while some choose to stay for a long time, most choose to stay for a short period of time. So I have a window of opportunity to build generational success and generational succession and generational wealth with all of those who work with me. And the thing that I understand about who I am, no matter where I am in the world, I have to declare it. I know that when people ask me what my name is Kiana Webb Severlo. When they ask me what do, I own McDonald's franchises, That is my business. But what I do is provide opportunities and access for young people to go out in the world and be successful. And I know that I would not be here without the support of my family, without the determination and dedication and the examples that I have received from the powerful women, especially my mother, who grew up in an environment where her mother was a single woman in Boston, Massachusetts. She did not have the ability to stay home with her children. She went out and got a job in an environment where, not only were you unaccepted in Massachusetts as a woman working, but now you're a black woman working. And she made a way where most would have found no way. And then I see my mom. My mom was diagnosed with MS in the early 80s, multiple sclerosis. And now we've been more than 20 years with this diagnosis. She is one of the hardest working, most determined, beautiful people I've ever met in my entire life. And it's not a need to compare, but it is an example. It is an uplifting way of knowing that if these circumstances can create generational success and wealth and value based upon their examples because of their choices and their actions, then I can do no less. What I know as a business owner, as a woman, as a mother, is that life is chaotic. And sometimes we get so caught up in all of the noise that surrounds us that we just need to bring it into a moment of silence. One of the best pieces of advice that I got when I was having my son was to enjoy every moment and take lots of pictures. I didn't really follow either one of those with my first one, but I learned over time to pay more attention to what that meant. Because you forget, so we take photos to just capture those moments. But even in the chaos, that moment, there's something that I can learn from about myself, about others, about life in general. And I take that as an opportunity to achieve my own personal growth. I'm not interested in staying the same for the rest of my life. That to me is boring, right? I always want to do something that helps people a little bit more. And it may evolve or change, but what I see in my future is always the same. That no matter where I am, if I'm out on the town on a night with my girlfriends, or if I'm partying at a salsa club, doing salsa dancing, if I'm with my kids, if I'm at work, if I'm in a meeting, trying not to intimidate too many men, I'm always going to be the possibility of creating access and opportunities for others in an environment of healing. So I thank all of you for taking this moment to listen to me, and for my family, again, for being here in support of me, and to Miss Rebecca Cruz for tapping me on the shoulder at a lunch after meeting me for 15 minutes. I mean, just that leap of faith was phenomenal. And it has definitely changed my world and my life, and I cannot thank you enough. And I hope that at the end of this event, if you take nothing else out of it, that you remember this. Rebecca Cruz had a dream, and now we are all experiencing that dream fulfilled. Thank you.